Welcome to the Golden State Media Concepts College Football Podcast, your ticket to all things college football. Are you looking to get your college football fix? Looking to get the latest news on your favorite school's team? Join us as we talk college football from the national championship to college rivalries to bowl games to the Heisman Trophy to which conference is the best. We've got you covered for the Big Ten, SEC, Big 12, Pac-12, ACC, and everything in between.
What is up? Welcome to the GSMC Football Podcast. It is a Wednesday, and I am Tom Dougherty, which means this is the college football edition of the GSMC Football Podcast, which is always brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. As we were going to talk about some more Kyler Murray stuff, as we know what happened now with the MLB draft has happened. Will Kyler be the heir apparent to Baker Mayfield? Will he be the next superstar for the Oakland Athletics? Because the Oakland Athletics picked Kyler Murray 9th overall. The guy went top 10, 9th overall. And I don't know if you football fans out there are privy to how much money the baseball draft actually works at. I have to tell you to go look at Jeff Samardzija. I know he's a pitcher, which is a little different. So pitchers are a little easier, and it's not easier. You have to still be good, but you're going to get big money when you're a pitcher. He didn't play football. He obviously played at Notre Dame, but then foregone a chance to play in the NFL or continue at Notre Dame. And he's made over $120 million in baseball salary. I mean, that's the thing. Baseball salary, he signed, even if he's bad, he signed what did he sign with the Giants, right? Like a five-year $90 million deal or something like that. So I could look that up, but this isn't the baseball show. Kyler Murray, that signing bonus for if he signs with the A's, which I'm sure he will actually, because he can sign with the A's and still go back and play, or try and play at least Oklahoma. $4.5 million. $4.5 million is the signing bonus for that 9th pick in the draft for him. So yeah, that's the decision to make, and that's the decision that we'd all love to make, I guess. But no, when you're a world-class athlete like Kyler Murray, I mean, go watch the film. And I bet you probably maybe watch the football film, which is great and all. I think he's a little too short at 5'11". He looks like a running back when he gets through the line of scrimmage and is running towards the end zone, which is fine, great in the read option. But he's not going to be an NFL quarterback. No, you can be a MLB center fielder though, and hit fourth. And I mean, he's got 10. The guy's got 10 bombs already. He's hitting 295 with 10 bombs. And for those who don't really pay attention to baseball, that's good. That's really good for a college player. And he's playing a really good center field too. He can go get it as good range. And I mean, in football, you don't really. Yeah, you have all your tools. Baseball, there's a thing. It's kind of a cliche thing. You have a 5-tool star, 5-tool athlete. You can hit for average, hit for power. You have a good arm. You have speed, and you play good defense. Basically, that's it. Speed, defense, arm, power, average. That's it. That's 5. Those are your 5 tools, and they say he has all of them, or at least 4 out of the 5, and you can develop the 5th one, which is usually what you look at for a first-round draft pick. You have I think he's already got 5 out of 5, because I mean 295. You want that a little bit, maybe a little higher in college. You got guys out there hitting like 350 out there, but 10 home runs. That's got the power, check. Got the speed, check. Guys fast as hell. Got the glove, check, and then the arm. I haven't seen him throw as much yet, so I can't quite say. But I mean, the fact that they're saying 5 tools, I'm thinking the guy's got a good arm too. When it comes to throwing a baseball, throwing a football a little different, more about it's accuracy for football, but baseball, when you're playing in the outfield, it's all about that assist arm. If you can get that ball into the infield quickly, football, I mean, you want to have a strong arm as well, but you want to be able to be accurate. As far as what he's going to do, that remains to be seen. It just literally happened 2 days ago. He's got time to make a decision. he's got time to make a decision, and I think that the one that will come, I've seen reports saying that he's going to take it up on the draft and then go and play. I don't know if he actually, what's the rules for college football to do that? Like, can he actually go and take the money from the A's or go play football? I mean, I don't think he is at 4 points. So the ninth pick, the signed value for the ninth pick is $4,761,500. NCAA rules do allow professional athletes to play professional baseball and receive money. Well, okay, so yeah, that's true. He can do that. That's the thing he can do. He can actually take the money from the A's, play rookie ball, and then go play he can still maintain his amateur status, which is actually, I'm okay with the rule. Great. Have that rule, NCAA, but that's a joke, right? It's an absolute joke. The fact that you're letting a guy, he's still an amateur, you can still require your amateur status, but you can't play, but you can't get agent, or you can't make money off your likeness. You can make money from another team or another sport, but you can't go out and try and sell some autographs or make a appearance or something like that. You can't use your likeness for personal gain, but you can use your athletic ability to go play a different sport and be good enough to make $4.7 million off of a draft signing bonus. So that's a lot of money. I mean, he's going to be obviously. I don't know. Like I talked about on Monday with his decision and what his situation is down there with his family. I mean, I don't want to speculate. Oh, they need the money or they don't need the money. I don't want to speculate on that at all. I just think that I've seen reports out there saying that he knows long-term baseball is the sport for him. I think that based off his size, baseball is a sport for him. Yeah, he can go and break all of Baker Mayfield's records like he did. I mean, at Oklahoma, he can break records like he just did in high school. But I think the fact that he's still playing baseball, he's playing well for Oklahoma, and got drafted up that high just tells you. I mean, dude, you're the ninth pick in the overall, and I mean, there's gonna be hundreds of players taken in this draft. And you're the ninth pick overall, the number 9, and you're going to get. Their A's are going to. I mean, the A's honestly could make that an even $5 million if they want, just to make it a little more tasty. I know it is kind of interesting that of all teams to pick him, it's the A's, usually the most cheap team of all, the team that has that kind of pull him away. I mean, they're the ones who made the decision. They had plenty of other options at number 9 right there, but they decided to go with him, and now they have to work with him. And I mean, see, that's the thing. You can still maintain your amateurism, but he's going to have an agent already for baseball. I don't know. NCAA rules used to allow for athletes to play professional baseball and receive money while also maintaining their amateur status, which I mean, I don't know. That's it. I think that's kind of I'm okay with the rule. Have it like that. That's great, but you need to have more rules. Have more rules. If you're going to let the kid, if he just happens to be good enough at baseball to make money off of it, why can't he be good enough at football and be famous like you're going to pop? Because I mean, I'm not saying the kids aren't out there selling themselves. I mean, of course, this is going to lead me to a rant about whether kids should be paid, but they don't sell themselves. They don't pop themselves up. They don't put themselves on national television. You do, NCAA. You get ESPN to pay you millions of dollars to air your games. You get Fox to pay millions of dollars to air your games. NBC, CBS, doesn't matter. All the networks air college football, and all the networks air different divisions. And I mean, they all have we have a Pac-12 network, we have an SEC network, Big Ten network, Longhorn network. Everything's on TV. All these kids are visible. They're all visible, and the fact that you can't use that visibility, the fact that you're making them visible and now they're becoming quote-unquote famous or just at least known in their lives as a football player. I mean, look at Kelly Bryant, or look at, who was I just talking about? If Kyler Murray didn't play baseball, he's going to be known for the rest. Tua Tagovailoa doesn't play baseball. He's at Alabama. He won national championship game as a freshman. He has sophomore, junior, senior year to go. 3 more years of very highly recognizable, notable name person, and that's 3 years of lost earnings. He could go get an agent, do endorsements, ad campaign, make money off of appearance, whatever he could. Anything that all these NFL players do, he's just as famous. I mean, there's more people know who he is and would probably be excited to know who he is than probably a punter or a kicker on an NFL team, or the third string return man or something like that on an NFL team. But he's a pro, so he can go make money off of himself. Well, Tua's lost 3 years of being able to make money off of himself, or 2 years if he decides to go out and enter the draft after junior year. But that rule kind of just pushes me into like, okay, come on. Yeah, you can go play college football and still have your chance of playing in the NFL, or doing whatever you want for your school, while also making $4.7 million because you just happen to be good at baseball too. I guess it just pays to be a two-sport athlete, I guess. I mean, I thought it was all about specialization. I mean, when you're a crazy athlete like Kyler Murray is, obviously a world-class athlete that he is, that's not, there's no specialization needed. You're good enough to play both. But it's just crazy how you can have a guy who is that good at baseball and get drafted like that and then still get his money, which is great. That's great. But then you have a guy like Tua who is a world-class athlete as well, but it just didn't happen to be that good at baseball. Sorry about it. And he's going to play Alabama, one of the more, if not the most visible school and most known school, successful school in college football. Is going to be on ESPN and Fox and all these different channels for the next 3 years in college as an amateur, and not going to be able to make a cent off of it. But Kyler Murray can keep his amateurism and make as much money as he can because he's a baseball player. Sorry, pays to be a baseball player, and that's why I think that's another reason. I mean, pays to be a baseball player, pays to be a two sport player, at least athlete. I mean, usually you don't really see basketball, football, more like guys that like Jimmy Graham, who played basketball in college and then goes and plays football, or Antonio Gates, basically tight ends. Kyler Murray. I think there's another kid out there too who was deciding whether he's going to sign with the Angels. As we had another player, the recruit for North Carolina, Jordan Adams isn't even going to enroll in the school. I mean, he had a chance to go play football for North Carolina, got drafted number 17 overall, first round by the Angels, and is deciding just to go and play baseball. I mean, rather than even go to college and go to school at all. So I mean, that's a different, obviously different option there. He could you could decide to play both if you want and still get your money. I mean, it's just if you want to play football, I guess it's kind of it turns into a hobby at this point. I mean, at least it would be for Kyler Murray in my head, because you're already getting a $5 million payday for a sport that you're obviously really good at, but also a sport that you haven't even played an inning of professionally. And I mean, I don't think the guy's going to be a bust. Go watch his baseball highlights. Go watch the video of Kyler Murray playing baseball. It's very nice. So I mean, after sitting there, I mean, look at it. I mean, compared to the money doesn't really go away. You're thinking Adams. Oh, why doesn't he just forego how much? No, it's 3.5 million for the 17th pick. So that's the slot for the 17th pick, assigned value. Yeah, which is crazy. I think I would take that too, instead of having to go get bounced around at. I mean, North Carolina's a little different when it comes to. I mean, if it was North Carolina baseball, obviously it happens a lot when you draft high school players, and you got to lure them away from playing college baseball versus college football. Yeah, so it's a rare thing here, and I think Kyler Murray, he's going to do as much as he's allowed. I think the guy is going to try and do as much as he possibly can when it comes to playing baseball. And then also trying to be the heir apparent to Baker Mayfield at Oklahoma. But I mean, when you have 1 foot in professionalism in sports and 1 foot in amateurism, you can kind of feel the pull of professionalism. I think professionalism is a little bit better than amateurism, and of course, it raises the question. Seeing that rule in there, for me at least, raises the question for the fact that what's the point of amateurism if we're actually going to let it stick? Even when you're not an amateur anymore, it just happens to be in a different sport. I don't know. It's just, I guess it pays to be good at baseball. That's the thing. And I guess if you happen to be a football player too, then you can do that if you want. Or you can be like You could be like the kid from Jordan Adams. You could be like him and decide just to play baseball and take your $3.5 million and go play for the Angels, which is just fine too. All right, I'll wrap it up for this segment. We'll probably come back and do some more talk on Kyler Murray. Also, the ESPN rankings for recruiting has come out, as also spring recruiting is upon us as we go through the summertime, this little lull in college football. But there's always cool stories, especially this Kyler Murray story as well. So we'll do that. More talk about that when we come back. Stay tuned.
Are you looking for help for your fantasy football team? Check out the GSMC Fantasy Football Podcast. Get today's best advice on who to start, who to sit, even who you should draft. From sleeper picks to red-hot lineups, they got it all covered for you. That's gsmcpodcast.com/fantasy-football-podcast. We'll cover traditional leagues, dynasty, PPR, even IDP leagues. When you need fantasy help, there's just one show to hit up. Don't forget to like them on Facebook and follow them on Twitter. Visit gsmcpodcast.com for more info.
All right, welcome back, GSMC Baseball. Well, it's kind of baseball. Football. This is the football podcast, but we're talking baseball and football because of Kyler Murray and the fact that he is going to be making a decision here soon, and it's going to be one regarding his future. And I think it's going to be one that will likely go the way that the money goes. I think that I think the fact that college football is a little more popular than college baseball is why we're just kind of surprised as a nationwide. But if those who are a little more privy to college baseball and the MLB draft, everybody they all knew that this was a definite possibility that this was going to happen, where a team was going to make an offer or make a move, where they were going to have to make an offer for Murray in order to sway him away. And if he could do both, that's great. I think he's going to end up being a baseball player. I think there's people close to the situation who know who have said that he knows that he's going to be a baseball player, likely in the long term of his career at least. And we might try and play a year at Oklahoma, see what happens. But I think this is going to eventually he's going to turn into just a baseball player. And it's funny he gets drafted by the A's because, I mean, for those who don't know, the A's are kind of a minor league team to the rest of the league, even though they do play. They're a Major League Baseball team, don't get me wrong. They can have good little years, but they are a cheap team. And it's interesting, I said, that they're going to have to be the ones to lure him away with the money. Fortunately, they don't really have to come up with a number. It's already been come up with just based off of the slot, which is kind of how it is now in all sports, where it's all slotted out, the value per pick. But it looks like that Murray could be a guy who they sign and comes up to their minor league system, which is a very good one. But not to mention, the A's farm system is a good developmental system. They bring good players. I mean, you see guys like Josh Donaldson come from that. Sonny Gray. I'm trying to think of some more guys they've sold off in the past that ended up being good players. You saw Ryan Healy on the Mariners. I mean, I know I'm just talking to a different audience, not quite the baseball audience that I usually would be talking to when talking baseball, but the A's could be a stepping stone for Murray to get on a big team. Like, if he's really in the next few years here, 3-4 years, ends up being a guy who can make a difference on a Major League Baseball team. He'll be traded to a bigger team on the East Coast, likely, or maybe even the Dodgers or something like that, Angels. So something to look forward to, and something that he could think about. I mean, okay, get drafted by the A's and end up being traded probably in the future, or get drafted by a team that's really going to try and make you their centerpiece, like a Royals or a Indian. I mean, not but like a Tigers. Pretty much any other team in the AL Central could draft you and then make you like a centerpiece of their franchise, and then you're locked up in Minnesota for the rest of your life or something like that. Versus being on the A's, you're probably not going to be in the A's very long. That's just kind of how they do things over there. In Oakland, they draft good players, they develop them well, and they send them away when they get too expensive. They get close to their next contract. That's kind of how it works. But I mean, Kyler, whether he's going, like I said, he's going to decide to be that two-way player that we haven't seen in a while. I think it's going to be a long decision for him. I think it's going to be one that he's going to have to make up with a bunch of people, obviously. The fact, like I said, the fact that he has an agent and he probably has a whole staff working with him, but he's still a college football player. Not to mention, he's still a college football player, but he's also going to be a professional baseball player very, very soon, which is pretty cool. I mean, the guy, like I said, go watch his baseball highlights. I know if you guys out there aren't quite baseball fans and you're wondering why is he so good? Why is this happening? Why are we going to likely lose a talent that we could watch play football for a while? The thing is, I don't think his talent, he's not big enough to play in the NFL. He's not big enough. He's perfect for Major League Baseball. He's 5'11", go out there, play outfield, go run down some fly balls, go run around, steal some bases, make some things happen on the baseball field, which I think is just a better dynamic for him. I've watched the football highlights too. I watched him behind the line of scrimmage. It just looks like a little shorty, a little pipsqueak back there. No offense, but I think Baker's listed at 6'1", Kyler's 5'11", so go play baseball, buddy, and you'll make some serious cash as you can go look at. I mean, it's different. Like I said, it's still a little different for position players, but you're that high of a draft pick. You got drafted by the A's, which means you're probably going to get traded somewhere before you get your money, and then you're going to get paid by a big team, especially if you show out during your first few years in the bigs, whenever you do make it there. And I think it'll be soon. So, how old is he? What's he, 19 or 18? I don't think he's 18, but he could be 20. The fact that the thing is, he's going to have to choose. I think he chooses the A's, honestly. Obviously, I think he's going to plan on playing football this year. I think it's going to last probably a year, and then that's going to be it. Because baseball season is almost year round, especially for draft picks. You play fall. He's not going to be able to play in the Arizona Fall League. He probably can come to spring. He'll be able to do spring training, some sort of minor league spring training next year, and then he'll go into rookie ball, which lasts all through spring football and into the summer. So I think this is the 1 year. You can go talk to Bo Jackson, obviously. Bo Jackson's already come out and said that, and had his advice to give to Kyler Murray. I think this is what he was quoted in an article, and it was said that that was the LedgerInquirer.com. He was quoted in an article saying the sports world is a little different than it was when I played. Jackson said they have more talent, way more talent. The talent pool is deep. I can't tell the young man what to do. Whatever sport he chooses, concentrate on it. So that's kind of what I would think. I was thinking was the fact that you usually see kids specialized now. It's very rare to see two-way players. Obviously, if you're like a quarterback and you have like a John Elway kind of thing where you're a quarterback and you also have a really good arm, and a pitcher, baseball team just takes you because you have a really good arm and take you late in the rounds. I think even Johnny Manziel got drafted by the Padres like in the 39th round, which is the second slot. There's 40 rounds in Major League Baseball draft. 40 rounds. Baker Mayfield got drafted. Not Baker Mayfield. Johnny Manziel got drafted way back when. I think by the Padres is kind of a gimmicky thing, but it's funny because you think that you're going to have to really, like I said, you got to specialize, and that's what Bo Jackson is saying to Kyler Murray. He's saying, buddy, you got to pick one. Basically, you got to pick one and be as good as you possibly can be at that one. And I think the way his body, if he was a little bit taller, if he was like 6'2", then yeah, I mean, you've already seen the kid from UNC, from North Carolina, what was it, Adams, decide to go and play baseball. I mean, he that was quick. I mean, he's like, sorry, I was going to be like 24th ranked receiver coming into the season for not even a big football school. Actually, it's a basketball school there at North Carolina, versus going and play for the Angels, being the first round pick for the Angels, who have a very nice little roster and could have a nice team for quite a while with those young stars they have. I mean, Mike Trout's still young, Shohei Ohtani's young, and then they get the Adams kid who's going to get paid $3.5 million, and that's the draft. That's the slot. So I think when you add another million to that, or even another million and change to that, that's where you get to Kyler Murray's number, and he's going to be like, I don't know. I'm going to take it and run with it a little bit and see where I can go as far as playing both sports. But with Bo Jackson and his comments, that's exactly what I was thinking. Talent pool is bigger. Everybody's bigger, better in both sports, football and baseball, compared to when he played. And I think it's really key for him to specialize in one sport. And I think that's going to be baseball, because you go, like I said, go watch his highlights. Look at his. I mean, the football highlights are great too, but they don't translate to professional sports. It does not translate. He can be a great college player, and then what if he's a great college football player, gives up on his baseball, or doesn't give up, at least doesn't go full bore, and then you don't get anywhere. You're just a good college player. You end up being a really good college player, and you can live off of your signing bonus from your draft pick. I mean, that's pretty much it. I feel like if he spreads himself too thin, he might end up paying for it in the long run. If he really just picks one and decides hard to just go after it, maybe he can squeak into the NFL. I think he's got a much, much, much easier path. You can already tell to Major League Baseball. Even if you're a number one draft pick, it's not like the NFL where you're gonna play. Like all the guys who got drafted first round in the NFL draft this season will likely start. I mean, take away the quarterbacks maybe a little bit. Some of them will need a little bit of time, but as far as it goes with baseball, yeah, you're gonna have to probably wait a few years in minor league baseball, but you're gonna have you can have your little bonus check to look at every few times you get sad when you're sitting on a bus driving between Greenville, South Carolina, and Nashville, Tennessee, or something like that. So I mean, yeah, you can be upset about that versus flying on the private jet or chartered plane that University of Oklahoma has. You try and do both. You got to specialize. You got to pick one, and I think based off of his size and speed and the 5 tools he has. I mean, does he have 5 tools for football? Arm strength's one of them. Speed, accuracy, touch, play calling, all the kind of stuff that it takes to be a quarterback. I mean, poise in the pocket, moving out of the pocket, throwing on the run, resetting your feet, all these different things that it takes to be a quarterback. Does he have all that? Because I know he does for baseball. He's got the bat, power, average, got the speed, got the glove. I need to find out what the arm strength looks like out of from the outfield and accuracy to the plate. But yeah, I think that the fact that he's a quarterback can kind of answer that question. He's pretty accurate, knows how to throw to a target. I think that's going to answer the question for you, and I think it kind of makes it. I think it's an easy decision. As much as you love to play at University of Oklahoma, be the second guy after Baker Mayfield, I think you say, okay, A's, I'll play for you 2-3 years in minor league ball, make my debut, show out on the major league, be your center field for like 2 years, and then or 2-3 years, get through my rookie contract and get traded to the Red Sox. Done. Or traded to the Yankees. Done. Be the heir apparent to Brett Gardner. And I think there's always bigger and better to think about. Yeah, you could be the heir apparent to Baker Mayfield at University of Oklahoma, or you could be the heir apparent to Mookie Betts or Jackie Bradley Jr. for the Red Sox. Or if you're, I'm assuming the A's trade him, which I'm thinking that's the kind of the way they go with their top prospects. Or you're going to play in Oakland for a little bit and then go to a different team, because assuming he's going to be good enough to do that, or you could just play in Oakland. The A's, hopefully they're going to get a new stadium pretty soon here. That's the one thing I wouldn't be that excited about, is having to go play at the Coliseum. But he's got a few years to go play some minor league baseball and see what he can do there professional wise. The kid is going to get a nice $4.7 million check, has yet to play a meaningful snap on the field for Oklahoma, and has yet to play a inning of professional baseball yet as well. So, I mean, it's a lot of up in the air, a lot of question marks. I think the decision's easy for me. It would be for me. The money is a lot of money. Go play. I mean, you could do both. Yeah, do both. But I mean, doing both is gonna. I mean, I'd rather you just take football. Say no to the baseball before doing both for a long term. Maybe one year, see how it goes. It's not going to hurt you. It's not going to kill you too much if you do try and do both for 1 year. But after that 1 year, you really got to make a decision. And I think baseball is the way to go for him because he's just too small to be a real. I mean, if your goal is to make it into the majors or the NFL, to make it to the top level of either sport, I think it's a better chance is baseball, even though it might take a little bit longer. All right, that'll wrap it up for this segment, and we'll come back and do some talk on spring recruiting and the recruiting rankings coming out, as there's always a revolving door. That's what college football is. You always got to find the newest and best talent to fill your team. It's not like finding free agents. It's all about going to high schools and watching film and finding the best players and recruiting them and luring them to your team. Because, of course, if they're good enough, they're going to have a lot of different suitors. All right, we'll come back after these messages. Stay tuned.
Check out the show that's built on the MMA. From the UFC to extreme cage fighting, they got the fights covered. Check out the GSMC MMA Podcast. Get the latest news on past or upcoming fights. Join us as we talk to and about some of the biggest names in the MMA, past, present, and future. When it's the fight game, there's just one show to check out. GSMCpodcast.com/MMA-podcast. Don't forget to like them on Facebook and follow them on Twitter. Visit GSMCpodcast.com for more info.
All right, welcome back to GSMC Football Podcast, the college football edition on a Wednesday here. We're going to go through some recruiting stuff, as there's always stuff to know when it comes to your recruiting, and the spring recruiting is going to be more specific with college football to be the revolving door that it is. You always got to be thinking about recruiting, obviously, and when it comes to, obviously, we've had a lot of people go in and do their signing days. We had signing day already. But with this is for the 2019 class, and obviously there's schools out there that get commitments from sophomores, from juniors already, that make the decision on what they want to do. But there are already 74 prospects that have announced where they want to go. That's 14 linemen, offensive linemen, 11 linebackers, 10 quarterbacks, 9 defensive ends, 8 wide receivers, 8 defensive backs. 6 have been listed as just athletes, basically a punt returner. No, I'm kidding. They have this position list: 4 defensive tackles, 3 running backs, and a tight end. So a little low on the running back. On the running back end there, but definitely high on quarterbacks, high on those linemen. Obviously, always need some offensive linemen, because I've preached it for so long. It's all about line play. There's a reason why they're, especially for college sports and top college programs, unless you're Michigan, of course, you're going to probably find some talent at the skill positions with the quarterback, running back, receiver, DBs, everything. But it's finding guys that can really be technicians down in the trenches. And whether they're big, strong linemen pushing guys off, holding blocks, or they are pass rushers trying to get some penetration into the middle of the offensive line and get after the quarterback. So, I mean, whether it's a situation where you are just going to be trying to go after protect. I mean, because it all has it's all connected. I mean, it's protection. Like I said, whether it's a situation you're going to go after protection for your quarterback, looking for more run blocking, you're going to go after you're going to be on the other side of the ball, defensive side. You're going to try and get a pass rusher or a run stopper. The offensive line, defensive line the battle of the trenches, basically. I mean, you watch some of these games. I mean, watch like the USC Stanford game, or watch like the Notre Dame Michigan game, or actually, the Notre Dame Michigan game to start off the season this year is going to be. I mean, even though Notre Dame did lose their 2 top linemen to the draft this season, but they're obviously going to reload. They have guys. I mean, you never can knock offensive line there at Notre Dame unless, of course, they're out of sync. So there's always problems. I mean, there's guys who are really talented, big guys, but if you can have a weak link in the chain, that's where defenses are going to exploit it. So in recruiting, it's always nice to have a high number of linemen to choose from, and hope that you can get maybe 1 or 2. I mean, 14 linemen to hope for. That's for the people who have already announced their commitments. That's only probably 14 different schools, or maybe a couple, or 13 if a couple guys pick the same one. But as far as who's had the most success, Alabama, that for sure, they had a really nice start. I mean, at least with the ESPN 300 prospects, there's all these different rankings out there. But according to the ESPN prospects, they did land of those ones. They did 9 of the 300 prospects. And I mean, of course, the thing I've talked about it before, the fact that when Nick Saban was interviewing for the job at Alabama, he's like, "Oh, you're going to get a decent coach, but you're going to get the best recruiter in the nation." I mean, we've seen videos on social media of him dancing in people's living rooms with family, trying to get a guy. I mean, there's so many different things you can do to try and I mean, that's the thing about recruiting, is that's why we get in these nasty rule breaking situations where you're trying to get after somebody. This guy can if it's a need position, or I mean, with drafting with quarterbacks and stuff like that, it's different. But with skill players or linebackers, something like that, where he's clearly the best player. There's like the steep drop off from him to the next best guy. There could be a lot of suitors, and how do you push yourself ahead than anybody else? You can be like Louisville, this is basketball, but still on recruiting trips, and you can send in strippers like Louisville did. I mean, not advised or at all, but that's what we've done. Money has changed hands. I mean, basketball is the worst one. College basketball recruiting is ridiculously corrupt. The football, we haven't really heard that much about it. There are the probes out there, but they're still setting up situations where it's a family and a teenager and an old and a man in a room, basically, just making a deal. Like, what can we do? What are we going to do? I mean, obviously, you can think that. There's all these decisions are made. There's hundreds of players out there who have to make these decisions, and most of the time, it's like, I just like the campus better, I like the coach better, I like the program better, I fit better with the team. There's all these different things, selling points. But then, what if you have 2 teams that are you love the coach for both teams, you love the program for both teams, you love the campus for both teams, you fit in both offenses or defenses, whatever it is. You have to decide. It's a pick 'em, 50-50. And you don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. So how is that coach going to make himself more sellable? I mean, he's got to figure it out. So, I mean, and you can't use the cash. You cannot use the cash. There's so much around. You'd be like, oh, here. It's like a professional player where it's like, oh, just take a little bit more money. Nope. It's like going and dancing with your family, basically. Oh, Nick Saban does that. Nick Saban knows that he can offer all this and this and this, but so can Auburn, so can Georgia, so can Florida. They can offer all that. They have good position coaches. They have a great campus. They have a great schooling. They have, probably a great campus life around their. I mean, Auburn, Alabama versus Tuscaloosa, Alabama, Gainesville, Florida. I mean, Athens, Georgia, great. All 4 great college towns. I mean, those are all SEC schools. Obviously, you can list off more in the Big Ten. I mean, if you have a decision between, Ohio State's. I think Ohio State. Honestly, if you have a decision between Ohio State and Michigan State, that's a no-brainer for me. Urban Meyer is Urban Meyer, but at least down there in the South, you can see what you can do. You can see what Gus Malzahn can do. Obviously, I think that those 4 schools are tough to compare because of the coaching, and you're probably going to find out a coach that you like better than the other ones. But it can get a little squirrely, and seeing Alabama as the number one does. I mean, always like, oh, what are they doing? What illicit thing is Nick Saban doing? What rules are he breaking? I mean, there's so many different rules when it comes to recruiting. To be able to get 9 guys already, 9 of the 300 players to get to number one already in the class rankings. They have 14 total commitments, 12 of whom are in that 300. So so it looks like that. I mean, they got those 9 guys were between like 2 days ago and April 1st and 2 days ago, June 4th. That's where they got those 9 guys. They also had 3 other ones that had already committed to them. Sitting behind them, Texas A&M is right there. So is Ohio State, Clemson, Oregon, Oklahoma, Florida State, Mississippi State, and Notre Dame all have a good number of commitments. They all landed 4 guys within that time span, the April 1st to June 4th span, from that 300 list as well. All those teams except for Mississippi State and Notre Dame, I guess it looks like, they landed somebody in the top 100 as well. But Notre Dame, Mississippi State, all 4 of their players were from the 200 level down. So looks like that those teams. I mean, the thing is, there's so much talent out there. We're seeing so much refined talent, and high school programs are becoming much more efficient and with video and all this new advancements. I mean, like we talked about Bo Jackson's comments when it came to Kyler Murray. Yeah, everybody's getting faster, everybody's getting bigger. Talent pool is bigger. There's tools for everybody out there to use. Coaching is getting better. I mean, everything is going up, and the competition is getting even hotter. So I mean, it looks like that these teams, obviously, these teams that want to try and advance themselves into the top echelon have to do their research. I mean, that's the thing with recruiting, is finding the diamond into the rough. You're gonna know who the top guys are going to be. And that's why, I mean, these days, obviously, with cameras and mini camps and satellite camps, I mean, they've changed a little bit with the satellite camps, but the way it works, you're probably going to figure out who everybody's going to know who everybody is. They have a list of 300 players, high school players that you've never heard of, but these ESPN gurus have heard of them, and Rivals.com has it, 24/7 Sports has it, CBS, whatever. All these outlets have these lists as well, so you're going to know who they are. Like I said, you can try and go find a diamond ref, but I'll pull that back and say good luck. You're going to just basically try and be the best salesman you possibly can be. Whether I don't know what little deals and packages you can sell to these players, other than the dorm life, your camaraderie with your teammates, offensive or defensive schemes, coaches, everything. There's a lot of selling points, but I mean, if one thing doesn't point the right way, that can cost you a 4-5-star commit as well. So it looks like that there's things there's always variables. That's what I'm saying. There's always variables. There's always things that can change things. Obviously, there's something at Alabama that's quite appealing, other than the trophies they have in their trophy case. Sometimes for players, that's all it takes. I want to go to the most. If I'm getting recruited by Alabama, I'm going there because they're the highest pedigree, highest expectations. They know how to win. They're a championship program. I mean, everything at Nick Saban, that's pretty much no brainer. I think for some players. Some players don't like Nick Saban. Some players don't want to be under that duress. They want to be a little more free-spirited and play their game. He's maybe too much of a stickler for them, too hard on them, or whatever. I mean, obviously, if you want to get to the NFL, that's the ultimate goal here, right? For some of these high school players, Nick Saban is also your best bet, probably. So if you're sitting there in a recruiting meeting and you're like, look what I've done, especially if you're like a linebacker or a defensive back for Nick, or a running back for Alabama, or looking at Alabama. You're going to probably you have a very good chance of making it to the pros if you want to put some numbers on it. All right. As far as commitments, the people that have left to yet to commit, we have 2 defensive ends, 2 pass rushers on this list of the ESPN 300 that have yet to commit. Actually, and they're number 1 and number 3 on the list, and that's Kayvon Thibodeau and Zach Harrison, that are both defensive ends and have yet to make it. So Thibodeau, look at this. This is his consideration list. Alabama, they were in the obviously they were in the Final Four last year. Clemson, Final Four last year. Florida, perennial. I mean, they've won. I mean, obviously back when Urban Meyer was there, but Very good program. Florida State, Georgia, national championship. LSU, Michigan, Oklahoma was in there. Oregon, UCLA, and USC. Oh, and Washington. Just throw that in there. So basically, all the top teams in the SEC, ACC, Big Ten, and Pac-12. So it looks like, I'm surprised no Ohio State in there. Maybe Nick Saban or Urban Meyer's like, I don't think so. Looks like the inside track belongs actually to Florida State, LSU, Oregon, and USC. So Alabama's on the outside looking in for that one. That's for the number one prospect in the nation. That's Kayvon Thibodeau. So so it looks like that decisions are going to be there. Obviously, I don't know if it's the Alabama wasn't that appealing to him, or they think there's too much people in front. On the defensive side, I think defensive end at Alabama, you're going to get drafted. Deron Payne, he was more of a defensive tackle, but if you're a number one prospect coming out of high school, why would you not want to go play for Nick Saban? Obviously, playing at Florida State would be nice. I guess if you're a speed guy, Oregon. Oregon's had some guys drafted. If you want to go play for the 49ers, you can go play at Oregon. If you want to be defensive end. If you want to play for the Niners, go play at Oregon and be defensive end or defensive lineman. You might get drafted. I'm just kidding. They took two of them in a row. That's the only reason why I'm bringing that up. And then LSU, if you want to start over at LSU, start LSU, trying to bring them back to the prominence, that'd be nice. And then USC's kind of like Alabama, the name recognition, you know what you're going to get pretty much, and the campus, you're in LA. That's all. It pretty much sells itself usually for USC. So we'll have to see where he decides to go. All right, we're going to take a quick break and come back and do some more talk on this recruiting stuff, and then we'll close it out for the middle of the week, and we'll come back on Friday. So everybody stay tuned, and we'll do one more segment before the end of the show. Bye. 1 sec.
Check out the show built around the women of MMA. From the UFC to the extreme cage fighting, we got the fights covered.
Listen.
It's the Golden State Media Concepts Women's MMA Podcast. The latest news of upcoming fights, discussions of previous matches. Join us as we talk to and about the biggest names in women's mixed martial arts, past, present, and future. When it's the women's fight game, you know where to listen to. The Golden State Media Concepts Women's MMA Podcast.
All right, welcome back. Not my best transition. That was not the end of the show. Even though I said bye, that's the end of the show in about 15, 20 minutes. But, we have one more segment, final segment of the day, final segment for your Wednesday here. If you're like I said, I did talk a little bit of baseball in this show because of the fact that we have Colin Murray making a decision. I also do a baseball podcast every Monday, Wednesday, Friday before I do this show. So if you're a baseball fan, go over and listen to the GSMC Baseball Podcast when you have the time to do that. Of course, after you're done listening to this show as well. So, packed. Not quite a packed show. I did only have a couple different topics to talk about today. Recruiting is one of them. We also have some off the field stuff to report. We have the former starting quarterback at Tennessee, Quinton Dormady, has transferred to Houston. Just wanted to go touch on that. We also have a interesting case from Wheaton College, a football, not quite the school you also usually talk about, but another former football player from Wheaton College has been arrested on felony charges regarding hazing, and he has actually pleaded guilty to the misdemeanor charges for battery. So. Whether it was actually yesterday that he did that plea and was sentenced actually to a year of conditional discharge and has to complete 100 hours of community service. So, so it was the same sentence that the other another player received for the same charge back when they were caught in hazing scandal. I don't really call it a scandal, but they made a bad decision. Obviously hazing is no should be eliminated from any sort of initiation, or even an initiation. Obviously, you're a family. Obviously, you want to make players feel welcome. I don't know even know where this hazing stuff came. Boys will be boys is one reason people like to throw out there. I mean, these kids allegedly, but I mean they pleaded guilty to it, so I would take away that allegedly. But they duct taped a teammate or duct taped him around and then dumped him in a park without any clothes on. So that's great. Obviously, not great. That was a pretty nasty thing to do to somebody. A great way to welcome somebody to your school. Not so much, but these kids will definitely have 100 hours of community service to think about it, and as well as this conditional discharge. So. It got to be basically probation. Nice way of saying probation. So that's not a good thing. And fortunately, it's all figured out. The kids got what they pretty much deserved. I mean, hazing, I know, happens across the nation. Is to be something that really needs to be addressed. Whether it's sports related for a sports team or not, or what's a fraternity or something. All these initiation hazing stuff we've had some serious issues, and people have actually died as well. So definitely need to be careful with that kind of stuff and try and get a different kind of culture. I know it's a culture-based thing. These kids are young. I've been in college. I've been in the dorms. I mean, there's alcohol everywhere. Sometimes drugs. I mean, you just gotta really be careful. If you're on, even for a minor, a low level. I mean, Wheaton College is not a college I talk about a lot on this show at all, and you're going to find yourself in the spotlight even at Wheaton College if you're doing something as horrendous as that. So, and that was 2 years ago as well. 2016 is when it actually happened, and now we're finally getting some results on the legal proceedings of what happened in that case. But no, yeah, got to get a different culture going. Got to figure it out differently. Whether it's to make it a competition, have some sort of initiation competition, make it a game, some sort of safe, fun game out of it. I mean, I don't understand why these schools, I understand. I don't condone it whatsoever, but I do understand. I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh, why are they even doing this? Because they're freaking kids. They're little kids. They want to have fun. They're like I said, alcohol, booze. I don't know. They want to have fun. They want to take advantage. They want to show dominance. I don't know why they actually want to do that, but that's what they are doing basically. And it's something that really needs to change. And save it for the field. Bring it to the football field. Bring your competitiveness. Bring your dominant, your rage, or whatever mindset you got into your head that push you to do something like that. Bring it on the field and put it on the other team in a good sport where you can actually get praised for it instead of doing something as terrible as dumping a kid half naked in a park when he's duct taped together. I mean, the kid left the school. He's done. I mean, do you really not like the kid enough? You're trying to drive him away? What is the deal here? I don't understand what the problem is, but there's a culture, and that's the problem we've seen. We've seen bullying culture. We've seen people who are cowardice and going online now, and now we've had a hazing issue for a while, and now we're seeing it over in sports, and it's just, we don't want it. We want to see sports. We want to see teams. It's a brotherhood, and we want to see teams really come together and gel and play well together. That's the great part of sports, is that you're not only are you learning skills on how to be a good competitor and be a good athlete, you're learning skills on how to be a good teammate, a good gentleman, a good young man or woman, whether it doesn't matter, women's or men's sports. And that's what college sports are supposed to be about. It's supposed to be about creating an environment of safety, a safe environment where players can grow together and become friends and become men. I mean, obviously, if you know, I'm not saying everybody has to be friends, everybody has to be liking each other, but just be humane. I mean, geez, I don't want to say be nice. It's so mundane, but be humane. Be a human being and treat others how you want to be treated. It's pretty much as simple as that. Unfortunately, I did have to bring that up because it's a main headline right now for around the cultural world to have to deal with people like this and getting their dues now as the legal proceedings of that incident has happened. I don't want to see that anymore. Nor do I want to talk about it anymore either, because not my favorite thing to talk about on the show, but we definitely need a change. All right. going back to that recruiting stuff, I did want to, we have more commits. This is for the 2019 class rankings. Obviously, Alabama, Texas A&M, Oklahoma, and Georgia round out the top 4 of the for those rankings for the recruiting class for 2019. Obviously, 2018 is the class is already playing spring football and ready to go for summer and then into fall practice before they get the season started. But right now, 5 through 10 is actually Florida State, Clemson, Michigan. You got to like that. Michigan, South Carolina, and Ohio State. Ohio State down a little bit. Usually you see Ohio State up around the top 5. I don't know if Urban Meyer just wasn't a... that's the thing. It's the volatility in recruiting is weird because I think it goes kid by kid basis, or if it's like, coaches we didn't go out there, we didn't go as strong this year. Obviously, still getting 9 guys is good down there at Ohio State, and obviously the quality of the player also. I mean, Georgia's number 4. They only got 8 guys, but those are all probably top guys within the top. At least a few of them probably in the top 100 as well, more in the top 200 even then. So that's pretty cool for Georgia. All right. As I talked out. I did my whole rant. I saw that headline up at the Wheaton College issue, and I got on my soapbox regarding the hazing is not something we want to see at all. I mean, frats do it. I mean, frats are frats. I mean, it's still terrible over there. The fact that we have to see it in college football players doing. I mean, come on, guys. We got to deal with the stuff from Michigan State and all that stuff. I mean, come on, guys. It's a culture. Just create a nice culture. Create a fun culture. Create a culture where people aren't pressing that much. Be behind each other. I mean, support systems are a great thing to have. I mean, when everybody's in a positive mind, it makes it so much easier to go forward with things. I mean, it makes it so much easier to advance and to grow and grow together. And I get it. Not everybody's going to like each other. Not everybody's going to like each other, but I mean, these kids are probably thinking they're having the time of their lives hazing this kid. I mean, oh, it's my turn. I got hazed. That's the thing. It's these kids probably got hazed when they were younger. We didn't know about it because it was back in the day. We didn't really care or didn't really have all this reporting or Twitter or whatever. Those kids didn't say anything. This kid obviously went and said something to the victim of that crime 2 years ago. So. It's just not good. Not good. I think hopefully we're finally getting out of the realm where the snowball effect can stop. And the seniors did it to me when I was a freshman. Now I'm a senior. I got to do it to the freshman now. No. Just why don't you make a change? Be the difference. Be the difference, and see how your football program can change. When you look at some of these football teams that have won titles, they have a good upperclassmen core. They have a core of players who not only are talented but are good men and take their teammates under their wings, take the young teammate under the wings. I mean, there's nothing better than being an older player, being a more experienced player, and finding a young player to help out. I mean, they're going to owe you a debt of gratitude. They're never going to, I mean, unless you get some stink guy who just thinks he's the bee's knees or is going to set the world on fire or whatever cliche you want to say with that. But, I mean, being an older player, being a more experienced player, taking players under your wing, making them better, can only make your team better. Make friends with the younger players, make them more comfortable. I mean, that's the thing. I've been the young player in a program, and the first thing I do is see if I can make a friend with the older player. See if I can get under the wing of an older player. I mean, make yourself. Obviously, it's two-way street. You want to make yourself available, obviously, and then see if the other players are receptive. But I mean, there's nothing better than being able to learn. I mean, you learn. It almost becomes like another coach for you. You're going to learn. The more things you learn, the more better you can play. It goes like that for all sports. This isn't just college football. It's all kinds of sports like that where you're going to have, especially in college sports, where you have a rotation. I mean, unless you're Kentucky basketball, where everybody's a freshman all the time. But especially in football, where you're going to have upperclassmen. You're going to have seniors. You're going to have juniors all over the place. You're going to have freshmen come in and play. And it's nice always to have guys who are 4 years apart, but also can put each other under their wings and create good. I'm trying to think. Good cultures, good communities, good teams, good everything. And you don't see stories like this where players have to leave schools because they're being treated the wrong way. I mean, there's nothing worse than. I mean, yeah, if it's all fun and games until somebody gets hurt, that's the thing. No, it's all fun and games until you make a bad decision, basically, and decide to do something that's going to probably cost you for quite a while and might ruin your life or just change your life. Probably not for the better, but hopefully in a way that will make you change your ways and change the way you think and make the decisions you make in the future. So it's always nice to be good. There's nothing better than a good teammate. I think when you watch, like, especially for college sports, who are still technically college, especially if you're a player where you think you're good enough to play in the I don't know, not at Wheaton College, but anywhere else, you think you're good enough to play in the NFL. That's still a tryout. You have a 3 to 4 year job training / tryout / interview to try and make it to the NFL. And one of the best things that your coach can tell an NFL scout or another NFL coach is that he is a class act best teammate one of the best teammates you can have here at this whatever program you're at. So definitely something players should be thinking about. Young players out there listening should be thinking about. High school players, don't be selfish. It's not all about you. You're playing a team sport for a reason. If you want to be selfish, if you want to be all me, go play tennis, go play golf, go do swimming. But it doesn't matter. You're on a team sport for a reason. You can say there's no I in team, blah blah blah. This is the oldest cliche in the world. But just be a good teammate and help each other out. Obviously, yeah, you're trying to get yourself advanced in the world. But you know what? If you are somebody that helps somebody else out, you're going to advance together. And that's the best way to do it in sports. There is advancing and winning with your teammates and growing with your teammates and seeing them succeed and seeing yourself succeed with your teammates as well. All right, that'll wrap it up for the show today, as we'll be back on Friday to talk more college football stuff. We'll see if there's any more news with Kyler Murray's decision reports out. I know he's planning on playing in 2018 for the Sooners, and then we'll make a decision after the season or throughout the season or whatever. But he got a big check put on the table by the Oakland Athletics when they picked him 9th, and he'll decide what he wants to do with that. I think baseball is the way to go for him. But I do want to see him on the football field this season at least, and then we'll go from there. All right, everybody have a good middle of the week. Have a good Wednesday. We'll be back on Friday for another episode, and until then, we'll have a good week. Talk to you later. Bye.
You've been listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Football Podcast, part of the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. You can find this show and others like it at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Download our podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, and Google Play. Just type in GSMC to find all the shows from the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network, from movies to music, from sports to entertainment, and even weird news. You can also follow us on Twitter and on Facebook. Thank you, and we hope you have enjoyed today's program.